Uncle Howdy claims his first victim on Friday Night SmackDown last night as LA Knight slaps Bray Wyatt not once but twice, leading to severe consequences. Kevin Owens is revealed as the final participant in the men's War Games match at Survivor Series next weekend. Braun Strowman's controversial comments after Crown Jewel are referenced live on SmackDown by Ricochet. A new romance angle kicks off on SmackDown last night. Plus, what is going to be the location for SummerSlam next year? We've got the latest details on the rumored city. Matt Cardona, is he on his way back to WWE? Got the latest on a possible return to the company, and Rhea Ripley will wrestle her first match on Raw in 5 months this coming Monday. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of WWE, especially after last night's edition of SmackDown live on Fox. And let's start off talking about Bray Wyatt. Uncle Howdy is now claiming victims on Friday night and LA Knight, after his confrontation with Bray Wyatt last weekend, or last Friday rather, has led to some very, very, very severe consequences. On last night's edition of SmackDown, Bray Wyatt got into the ring to address the crowd and to make an apology. This is what it was billed as. Bray Wyatt was going to be apologizing, making an appearance in the ring. Wyatt reported that he was there to make an apology after last week. Wyatt said he wanted to apologize to LA Knight for having a moment of weakness and having strayed away from his path. It was at that point that Knight interrupted with a promo from the star, saying that he had thought a lot over the past week about their interaction last week backstage at SmackDown. LA Knight believed that he had earned Wyatt's respect. However, mid-sentence after approaching, he reached out and surprise slapped him straight in the face. After quickly escaping to the ring apron, Knight told Wyatt that now they're even. Of course, Wyatt headbutted Knight last week, so after a slap, they were even. Wyatt telling Knight, extending a handshake, quote, "All right, we're even. Even. Look, man, there's a lot I want to do to you right now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to fight all these urges, brother. The decision you make right now is about to change the rest of your life. We're even." Knight did not shake his hand, however. He slapped him once again, mugging for the camera, saying 2-for-1 special, as Uncle Howdy flashed on the Titanton screen behind him. As he walked away, Wyatt clearly had gone into some kind of disassociative state and was shown blankly staring ahead. Like that, just like that. Can't do a very good Bray Wyatt impression, but it was just like that. Commentary, Wade Barrett and Michael Cole even noted that Bray Wyatt, quote, "isn't very stable." It was then, in a backstage segment after the commercial break featuring the Usos and Karrion Kross with Scarlett, Wyatt could be seen just in the background. You'll see the images on the screen shortly. Wyatt could be seen in the background behind them having what appeared to be a passionate conversation. However, who was he talking to? He looked like he was talking to himself, or possibly, just possibly, he was talking to those voices in his head, one of the Bray Wyatt personas, one of the Bray Wyatt personalities, perhaps Uncle Howdy himself. This led to some very severe consequences, and to those that thinking or are thinking of slapping Bray Wyatt or getting physical with the former Universal Champion in the future, you might just not want to do that, because Uncle Howdy is never far behind. While Bray Wyatt and LA Knight seem to be engaging in Wyatt's first feud since returning to WWE, a reminder of the other storyline that continues to run throughout Wyatt's in-ring work. As I mentioned, after LA Knight had slapped Bray Wyatt not once but twice, and after Uncle Howdy could be seen flashing on the Titantron screen after Bray Wyatt went into this dissociative state. In a backstage segment, Howdy seemed to make a physical manifestation for the first time on WWE television. LA Knight was seen leaving the arena in short order after him slapping Wyatt, during which he was stopped by backstage interviewer Megan Morant to ask if he was jetting out because he was afraid of Wyatt. While he turned to say something sassy to Morant, fans could only see one thing, and that was Uncle Howdy waiting for him just outside the arena door. It was certainly the mask, or one of the masks, we've seen Bray Wyatt wear since returning to WWE. Of course, we've seen Uncle Howdy with the mustache and the top hat. This was the little bit more different one. This was the mask that we saw Bray Wyatt return in at Extreme Rules. Now, after the commercial break, WWE staff were seen attempting to remove copious items from having been piled on top of a downed LA Knight, who was the apparent victim of a well-lit attack. With Michael Cole on commentary stating, "Some would say you shouldn't poke the bear." And as I mentioned, certainly this is the first time we have seen this, I guess, manifestation of Bray Wyatt's Uncle Howdy persona. You can see on the screen shortly, that's what happens to LA Knight if you mess with Bray Wyatt. I thought this segment was fantastic. I thought that maybe bar the closing moments of the show, the main event, which we're going to get to shortly, this was absolutely brilliant. I know that the Bray Wyatt stuff is still quite polarizing, and I know that some people don't care for the heavy character stuff that Bray Wyatt offers. I know people want to see more in terms of physicality. Well, that's what we're seeing. Bray Wyatt has always taken his time when it comes to getting physical and getting inside of a ring. It was the same when the Firefly Funhouse Uncle Rogers, or Mr. Rogers rather, Uncle Howdy, Mr. Rogers, I've just merged them there. Mr. Rogers version of Bray Wyatt was initially revealed. That was just after WrestleMania in 2019. It wasn't until SummerSlam later that year, in August of that year, that we actually saw The Fiend wrestle for the first time. So it would appear very likely we're going to get Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight at Survivor Series. What version of Bray Wyatt that will be, if that's going to be Uncle Howdy, if that's going to be Bray Wyatt in the mask, if that's going to be The Fiend, we don't know. But I thought this was fantastic, and it's not just because of the Bray Wyatt part of it. I thought LA Knight was fantastic in it as well. You've got two guys here that are fantastic promos, that are excellent, captivating talents when you put the microphone in their hands and you have them tell a story. And I thought it was fantastic. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm really interested and excited to see where this one is going. Now, I spoke about the closing moments of last night's edition of SmackDown, and my, oh my, we have some updates when it comes to the men's War Games match at Survivor Series. The final member of the men's War Games team joining the Brawling Brutes at Survivor Series War Games was revealed last night on SmackDown. Now, after Sami Zayn lost to Butch in the SmackDown World Cup, there was an all-out brawl as the Brawling Brutes initially got the upper hand over the Bloodline. However, when WWE Undisputed Universal Champion Roman Reigns joined the fray, the Tribal Chief was seemingly the last man standing until a familiar music hit. Kevin Owens made his entrance, squaring off against Reigns and leaving him temporarily down in the corner of the ring. When Owens turned his attention to his former best friend Sami Zayn, they had an intense stare down, which was only broken up by a Superman punch from Roman to KO. After gearing up for another one, Owens reversed his spear attempt into a massive stunner on Reigns, leaving the Tribal Chief laid out. The Brawling Brutes and Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens stood tall in the ring as the Bloodline looked concerned out of it to end the show. Now, when it comes to Sami Zayn as well, we saw more corpsing. We saw more laughter in a backstage segment on the show. It was very, very interesting. Now, the show started off with Drew McIntyre and Sheamus and the Brawling Brutes out there talking about Survivor Series War Games. This is when Sami Zayn came out and guaranteed victory. He guaranteed victory for the Bloodline at War Games. He also guaranteed victory at the main event. That did not happen. Now, after the segment, in a backstage segment, both Jimmy and Jey Uso encouraged Zayn to take a chill pill before Zayn, the Corpse Master, struck once again. Popping back into the scene, seemingly unexpectedly after initially walking away, Zayn did a signature handshake with Jimmy Uso as Jey completely broke behind him, needing to hide his face behind his hands from the cameras. For his part, Solo Sikoa never cracked so much as a smile, but Jey Uso seemingly is still struggling to keep a straight face whenever Sami Zayn is in a backstage segment. It was certainly a lot of fun to see. And it's interesting, Kevin Owens being involved in this, because this has been widely speculated. However, there was a lot of doubt surrounding Kevin Owens' participation in the Survivor Series War Games match because he had reportedly suffered this knee injury. It was a sprained MCL reportedly last weekend during a WWE live event. So it had been widely reported by the likes of Dave Meltzer and others that Kevin Owens was not going to be able to be physically cleared to compete in the match. However, Owens looked fine last night, which has led to a lot of people speculating, one, was that whole faux injury an angle? Possibly. WWE this year has been putting out a lot of misinformation to certain journalists or certain sources of journalists and seeing basically who are leaks and who aren't, and also to try and kind of muddy the water, as it were, when it comes to stuff getting out. Whilst people expected Kevin Owens to be the fifth person in this War Games match, they wanted to increase the element of surprise by pulling back the possibility of Owens being able to compete in War Games. Seemingly he's healthy enough, therefore Gotcha. Now, what also could be a situation just as viable and just as likely is that Owens indeed was injured or did tweak something last weekend, but it wasn't as severe as one previously thought. Therefore, he can compete and he won't wrestle any kind of match or have any physicality until next Saturday's Premium Live event. What we do know and what we can confirm, though, is that Kevin Owens will be the fifth person on Team Sheamus at War Games in the War Games match at Survivor Series next weekend. And Certainly, it could be the beginning of Owens once again feuding with Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Championship. It could be the beginning of this Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens storyline that could lead to Sami Zayn being kicked out of the bloodline and leading possibly to Owens and Zayn versus the Usos for the Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships in the future. Braun Strowman advanced to the semi-finals of the SmackDown World Cup last night, but his controversial comments after Crown Jewel regarding smaller wrestlers and flippy-floppy wrestlers was referenced on the show. After some questionable social media takes recently on Twitter, Braun Strowman had his words provided back to him last night on SmackDown. Whether or not he will be forced to eat them, however, remains to be seen as he rolls into the semi-final in the SmackDown World Cup. Earlier, when a match between Ricochet and Mustafa Ali determined that Ricochet would move forward in the tournament, an interesting matchup was made. Already qualified to move on to that semi-final was the monster among monsters himself. After Strowman teamed with the New Day to take on Imperium, he came back where he took a question from Kayla Braxton. While answering, he was interrupted by Ricochet, who referenced their semi-final and then dropped a real-life line, reminding Strowman that he shouldn't sleep on all of these flippy flippers he would find out next week. Notably, Strowman recently drew ire from fans and colleagues alike after making disparaging comments about these flippy-flopper independent wrestler-style types. Ricochet, who is known for having a significant career outside of WWE, including independent wrestling throughout the world, would fit the bill that Strowman accused on Twitter of being grocery baggers. What happens next week remains to be seen, but certainly it will be interesting to see if Strowman does eat his comments. Personally, I don't think he will. I think it's clear that Braun Strowman will win the SmackDown World Cup. They basically teased it last night on SmackDown. They had the Intercontinental Champion Gunther running away from Braun Strowman. That, to me, is called planting the seeds for a future championship match. They're already planting the idea that Gunther could be scared of Braun Strowman. Therefore, you could see a scenario whereby Braun Strowman wins the SmackDown World Cup, earns that Intercontinental Championship opportunity against Gunther, and then we have the big match. Strowman, Gunther, Intercontinental Championship, the two behemoths facing off, and possibly Gunther having to face off against the monster of all monsters for the first time. Certainly could be a big money match, but will be interesting to see next week if WWE does decide to tap in more into Strowman's previous comments about smaller wrestlers. Speaking of SmackDown last night, we saw a romance angle fully kick off after being teased last week. On WWE SmackDown, a new romance angle kicked off between two popular WWE superstars after one has recently returned to the company. After teasing a potential romance angle incoming, Emma was spotted finally finding the guy she was looking for in a backstage scene last week on SmackDown. Approaching Madcap Moss backstage, Emma began her chat with the warming up star by saying, "Hey Riddick," and handing him a water. While he never opened the water, he did comment on having been without a voice for 3 weeks at the hands of Karrion Kross. After a quick pep talk from Emma, he hit the ring with revenge on his mind for a match against the aforementioned Kross. Not to ruin it for anyone, but these two are already very much a couple in real life. It's been widely reported and publicized. Go on their social media. Emma and Madcap Moss are together. It's a real life thing. It's a case of turning fiction into reality or reality into fiction, however you want to do it. Which does not truly explain then why this segment was so entirely awkward, but it's okay, we'll let it play out. Elsewhere, already on last night's SmackDown, we spoke about the returning Kevin Owens in the main event. But when it came to this segment, of course, Karrion Kross defeated Madcap Moss once again, choking Madcap Moss out with the Kross jacket. Emma hit the ring afterwards to, I guess, even the odds or support her man. This might be building to a mixed tag team match. We might see Scarlett wrestle on the main roster for the first time. Obviously, Kross's success on the main roster so far has been underpinned by having his Oracle at ringside. So certainly one could argue that we could see Madcap Moss and Emma facing off against Kross and Scarlett, two real-life couples facing off inside of a WWE ring. SummerSlam, already we might have the location and the city for next year's biggest event of the summer. A new report has revealed the planned location for WWE SummerSlam 2023. It looks like the biggest party of the summer is heading back to a city for the first time in over 30 years. Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp is reporting that the frontrunner for the 2023 edition of SummerSlam is Detroit, Michigan. Despite nothing being finalized, WWE sources have indicated that Detroit was being looked at for the show in recent months. WWE hasn't been in the arena for SummerSlam in quite some time. The last time was in 1993 at the Palace of Auburn Hills, which was headlined by Yokozuna versus Lex Luger for the WWE Championship. Of course, Luger won the match by countout, but did not win the title, despite confetti and massive celebrations being held afterwards. It was widely reported heading into the event that Luger could win the title. He didn't. Then it was postponed and pushed towards WrestleMania, but of course that didn't happen because Bret Hart left WrestleMania 10 as the WWE Champion. Possible venues for WWE SummerSlam 2023 in Detroit include Ford Field, which hosted WrestleMania 23 in 2007, and Commercia Park, the home of the Detroit Tigers. Also, the current home of the Detroit Pistons, Little Caesars Arena, is also being considered. The last 2 years for the summer spectacle have taken place in stadiums, though, so it's more likely, certainly, that it will take place in a stadium. Once there is official confirmation on which stadium or which arena in Detroit it will take place in, we'll talk about it here on the channel. Matt Cardona is one of these several names that's been linked with a WWE return recently. He's had major success since his WWE release in 2020 in promotions such as GCW and the NWA. Cardona has managed to secure titles such as the Digital Media Championship in Impact Wrestling, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, and the GCW World Championship. Rumors have begun to swirl regarding Chelsea Green, Cardona's real-life wife, potentially making a return to WWE. With that comes the question, would Matt Cardona come back to WWE as well? Well, on Twitter, Cardona posted a photo with 4 images of him winning championship gold in WWE and the words "just one more" right below them. The one title Cardona has not held in WWE is the biggest prize of them all, the WWE Championship. Now, again, this has been the latest tease by Cardona. However, in other interviews recently, he's claimed that he's not really interested in going back to WWE unless he's got an opportunity at the WWE Championship. In my opinion, I don't see that happening for Cardona. However, with his real-life wife going back to the company and a change in regime with Triple H now being in control of creative and talent relations, it's certainly possible that Cardona could go back. However, would he have the same success in WWE that he's currently having on the independent scene? I think not. Cardona was listed in the top 10 of the PWI 500 this year. Not that that list really means much. It's subjective and opinion-based as always. Nevertheless, would he be in that list if he was in WWE right now? I don't think so, but anything's possible, and Triple H reportedly is a fan of what Cardona has achieved outside of WWE, so perhaps Cardona could come back to the company and be successful. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Finally, Rhea Ripley will be wrestling her first match on Monday Night Raw in over 5 months this coming Monday. Rhea Ripley versus Asuka in a War Games Advantage match has been announced for the November 21st episode of Monday Night Raw. The match will mark Ripley's first match on the Red Brand since her victory over Alexa Bliss, Doudrop, and Liv Morgan on the June 6th episode of the show, where she became the #1 contender to Bianca Belair's Raw Women's Championship before being sidelined with a brain/teeth injury. Ripley would subsequently miss nearly 4 months of in-ring competition before returning into action in a mixed tag team match alongside Damian Priest at a WWE live event last month. Since that match on October 15, Ripley has routinely wrestled in multi-person and tag team matches at live events, but has been kept off the majority of TV matches except for a singles match against Roxanne Perez on the October 18 episode of NXT. The match against Asuka this Monday would also be Ripley's first singles match on Raw since May 29. The team of Ripley, Nikki Cross, and Damage Control, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai will come to blows with Team Bianca, that being the Raw Women's Champion, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and an unnamed partner in a War Games match at the upcoming Survivor Series Premium Live event. The 5th and final member of Team Bianca is expected to be revealed Monday, after Belair refused to give away the surprise this past week. Fans on social media floated many names, such as possibly Tegan Nox, Candice LeRae, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Naomi, Charlotte Flair, and also Beth Phoenix as well. The winner of the Ripley vs. Asuka match is crucial since their respective team will earn the entrance order advantage in the War Games match. While Ripley has been in 2 War Games matches in the past, Asuka has never stepped foot inside the dual steel cage structure. Sky and Kai boast the most War Games experience, taking part in all 4 of the previous War Games matches held under the WWE NXT banner. So certainly it'll be great to see Rhea Ripley back this Monday night on Raw. As far as who that final participant could be, again, your guess is as good as mine. It could be Sasha Banks. Survivor Series does take place in Boston, Massachusetts, her hometown. It could be Charlotte Flair, who's been rumored to be returning. It could be Becky Lynch, who's been sidelined with an injury, although The feeling is it might be too soon for that. Although she was taken out by Damage Control so it would fit, it could be Beth Phoenix, who of course was also taken out by Rhea Ripley, so that could certainly be a possibility. Tegan Nox, also it could be her. She's got history of Dakota Kai. There's lots of already built-in stories there, so we'll have to wait and see who that person could be, if it's revealed on Monday or if they wait till Saturday to reveal that mystery member. But there you go, guys. That's the latest WWE news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Let me know your thoughts on today's WWE news stories in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.